What's the big old deal? It's your boy Kelly Flicks, and we back with another episode, man. We're going with the late show. Today we're going with the late show. I got plenty of stuff to talk about. We got some schedules to talk about. Most importantly, Howard's schedule. Take note of that. Howard's schedule. We're going to talk about them, A&T, Tuskegee, Norfolk, and Morgan. We got some schedule breakdowns to do. And as we get closer to the season, I'm going to try to get through everybody. But today, we got a couple of those guys on the schedule. But last night, though, if you weren't able to check it out, you had to check out your boy Shedeur Sanders doing work. Going crazy. I'm not going to lie. Like, he did his stuff. Threw 2 touchdowns, about 27 passes. They left him out there, man. He's out there for the Cleveland Browns. He started the first preseason game for them, and he looked pretty good taking those reps. He held his own. So I didn't get to see the whole thing. I was at work. I saw some highlights. All I saw was a couple touchdown throws. But I'd like to see like what he was really doing. Like what's really the deal with Shedeur? So we finna check out this game. Every throw. This is every throw Shedeur Sanders had last night. So let's check it out, man. The drop. There you go. Good spot route.
Cash from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Pick one pop to match and win. On sale now. Blitz coming.
Good screenplay. Okay. Okay. Move the sticks then, young man.
Slip underneath and tie him up and let Rosebrook come over.
Sanders loads up. Tangled mess along the sideline.
Hey, these receivers aren't creating any separation, like, at all. Do something. Okay. I like that, man. He still got that quickness on him. Hey, look, what I am going to say about Shedeur, though, from what I've seen so far, the boy is very on time. A lot of these throws are on time. None's coming out late. 1, 2, 3, throw. 1, 2, 3, let it go. You know, and if he extends the play, he extends it. But, like, even on this slant, 1, 2, boom. On the spot route earlier, 1, 2, boom. Look at this. 1, 2, boom. Just let it go. Trust yourself. Trust your arm. It's a good signs. Sheesh. Sheesh. Cleveland O-line, man. Ugh.
For a couple of yards. On third down, Sanders airmails his wide receiver. Sal Cannella, the intended target. It's fourth down. They haven't played them tonight, and we wanted to.
They must have got a turnover. How'd they get on the 8-yard line? The 7-yard line. What, huh? Hey. Okay. Waggle. Ooh. Woo. Now that's a dime. You gonna call anything a dime? That was a dime. Hold on. Don't skip through that. Don't skip through that. I need to see the replay for real, though. The end zone version, because, Hey. Hey. Ooh. That's how you thread the needle right there. That is a small window. You got that sinking corner coming from the sideline. He presents the biggest problem for this throw. But the tight end himself beat a safety just to get to the corner position. So that's a great route. Great separation right there at the top of the route. You let the ball go early enough. Clockwork. Just like clockwork every time.
Said when we got it down to watch tomorrow, clean up other stuff, but right now I'm just excited about the team.
Yeah, you're concerned. You're listening in on Andy. What's your job the rest of this game?
Yeah, just energy. We talk about that all the time, no matter what it is.
Oh, that's a big boy throw. That's a big time throw right there. That's a big time throw. Let's check this out again. Let's break it down. We got 3rd and 9 from your own 7-yard line. Second quarter. All right, check this out right here. See a drop back? We're dropping back into the end zone. We are in the danger zone. Coaches will always teach their quarterback to let go of the ball. Don't stay too much in the end zone like this. You want, in these situations, quick step, quick drop, quick throw. You don't want to try to extend too many plays out here in the end zone playing around. That's how I get caught slipping. So, the maturity I'm seeing right here, poise in the pocket. Shador sits in the pocket. Chest up, chin out. In the face of 2 defenders, delivers a strike for this deep dig route for a first down, right? We see 2 defenders right here. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's confidence. Now, that's confidence. And you don't really see that a lot from a rookie. You seen other rookies make that throw? Yes. Good rookies making that throw? No. No. Everybody cannot make that throw right there. That's a one of. That's very good, Shador. That boy run like Patrick Mahomes.
The biggest point of emphasis in the offseason. Sanders standing tall. There's a DBU. Get your tickets today. Shador Sanders has played the entirety of the first half in the TFL for the Panther defense. Travion Thomas.
That's going to get rewarded in film because what he just did.
Sanders moving the pocket. Downfield.
Oh, one hand. Who that? Okay, young man. That throw is fire. Okay. Oh, nice. Can I see you, brownies? Nice. Shador has made some of his best throws today in the face of pressure. It's going to be a free guy that gets in. Running back does a great job in blitz pickup, crosses the face of the quarterback, and goes to meet that guy near the line of scrimmage. But some of Shador's best throws today have been in the face of extreme pressure right here. Heavy pressure. All right, we see the free backer up top near the left tackle. He's coming free at Shador. Off the snap, he's running full speed straight at the quarterback. Very good blitz pickup. Shador moves the pocket to the right, steps into this throw. He sees this guy. You see at the bottom of the screen. He's about to break in. As soon as he breaks, he's letting that go. I like what I'm seeing out of the young boy, Shador Sanders. I really do. Hello.
He moves out the pocket a little bit, and he doesn't get frenetic. He doesn't get all panicky. Sets his feet.
Great route right here too.
It's an over-the-top thrower, right on the money, low and away, can't get blown up by the safety.
10 touchdowns, rushing and passing. No picks over those 3 games. Sanders takes the knee. The Browns.
You're our positioning not only for your own team, you're
The boy played the whole first half.
the NFL.
Shador Sanders has played the whole game for Cleveland. And we get a big pass breakup.
This might be his last drive right here, though. Oh, another drive. Wow.
Sanders now in his own end zone. Steps up. Throws.
Ah, get that up.
Incomplete, intended for Bates.
And it should. Just the way he's been able to orchestrate what's going on.
Off play action. Sanders. He's got Bates.
I like what I'm seeing out of Shador Sanders, guys. I'm going to keep it a buck with you. I like what I'm seeing out of this kid. I've always been big on Shador, I got to say. I thought he was the best. Quarterback prospect coming out of the draft a couple of years ago. You know, coming in this year, kind of projecting. Ended up being Cam Moore being number one. But I thought Shador Sanders was number two, though. I did. I thought Shador Sanders was the second best quarterback prospect. So when he dropped, and I mean dropped considerably from like a first-round quarterback to a fifth-round draft pick by the Cleveland Browns, I was very concerned on his future. But right here, we see that he has a talent to play on NFL fields, which was the biggest question. Does he have a talent? And some people even talked about, okay, maybe it was how he was acting in the meetings and things like that. Sure. But can he play when he gets on that field? The answer is yes. Absolutely. The boy can ball. And there was a lot of doubters, negative, whoop-de-whoop. But we've been seeing Shador Sanders at practice. They got every practice. Every one of his throws from practice is on Twitter. Guaranteed. Search his name. Every throw. They even got practice stats. Some people talking about he's throwing the fastest. Football in all of minicamp. They even bringing out the speed gun to go check out the boy Shador Sanders at practice in Cleveland. So we know a lot about this player. We've seen what he does in the game, right? What can we take from this? Well, number one, with Deshaun Watson out for the season and Joe Flacco being the starting quarterback of the Browns, Shador Sanders definitely looks like a guy that can be the second-string quarterback on the Cleveland Browns right now. You still have Kenny Pickett, and you still have Dylan Gabriel that didn't play. I'm not sure if they even played. Let's look this up. I wonder if they played. Let's check out. We'll check out the stats of the game. So this was Cleveland versus Carolina. Let's see if they got the stats of the game so we can check it out. Let's see who else played. Okay, so it's 30-10. The gang is scoring after Shador came out. All right, so here we go. Tyler Huntley also played in the game. Let me take myself off so y'all can see this. Tyler Huntley also played. So I was their backup quarterback today. Kenny Pickett didn't play, and Dylan Gabriel didn't play. Maybe injuries, possibly. But we didn't see much of them. If you want to talk about a guy that I think should be the guy, I think Shador Sanders should be the guy in Cleveland. As far as moving forward, I think this year we go with Joe Flacco. Maybe 6 games, 10 games into it, hand the reins over to Shador Sanders, let him do his thing. But in game 1, Shador Sanders comes out 14 of 23, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 rushes, 19 yards. Very impressive first game for Shador Sanders, and you can't ask for too much more from a rookie. You know, a rookie comes into the league. Sometimes he can't find his footing. Sometimes they find themselves in difficult positions or even throwing turnovers and things like that. But right now, we see a Shador Sanders that's ready to play. And that's what's most important. Are you ready to play? Because Cleveland has been like a QB desert or where QBs go to die for a long time. A long time. So can Shador Sanders change that? Can he come in and make a play? And most importantly, will the Cleveland Browns give the boy a chance? That's really what I'm thinking when you talk about all this stuff. Will the Cleveland Browns give the boy a chance? So before we get into all this schedule predictions and talk about who should win, who should lose, I do want to get into some shout-outs like I always do at the top of the show. There are a couple new female staff members amongst the HBCU ranks, and I would like to talk about them. Give me 1 second. Here she is. All right. So I want to show you guys a new coach coming to the South Carolina coaching staff, Tess Abbott, right? Take a look at Tess Abbott. So Tess Abbott is making history as the first woman on the staff for South Carolina State. She's going to be the director of recruitment. And this is a role that she also had while she at her last job. She was at the University of Massachusetts, where she was also coaching as the director of recruitment and something else on that same matter. So she moves on to South Carolina State to essentially take on the same job, but trailblazing and coming into the HBCU sports world at a prestigious university like South Carolina State and becoming a person in position of power, right? This is not a grad assistant, okay? Somebody's going to be talking to the players day in and day out. So,
again, it's incredible that Coach has invested in me, especially with a school that is just so rich in history and success. And, I hope not only am I contributing to change here, but I'm also kind of changing that narrative that, females can work in the football leadership positions.
super dope. Super dope. This is a nice development for South Carolina State. You want to talk about Coach Berry, who has definitely held pretty much most of the same coaching staff going through his past couple years since Benedict, adding more coaches to the staff, upgrading players, but it seems like he always gets it right. So super dope. And then also, I want to get into another female staffer that is at North Carolina Central. North Carolina Central just added an offensive analyst named Jennifer King. So Jennifer King is pretty dope because Jennifer King was one of the first female, I think African. She was one of the first African American coaches in the NFL. She coached at the Carolina Panthers for a little bit, and I believe she also coached at the Washington Commanders. So she was able to really be in a couple different places, see a couple different things. So I want to really, if we can post this on here, take a look at this little. This will catch us up with the whole where Jennifer King has been. All right, this is from Anscape. Shout out to them.
If I could go back and speak to my younger self, I think I would tell her to continue to work hard. Go for your dreams earlier. Looking back, it's kind of interesting to know where I could be now if I would have, tried to achieve my dreams a little earlier. If you want it, you can get it, though. Make sure you want it, all right, get it, though. It's not about being the first, it's not be the last, So you want to do a good job at this thing, and so, so people in higher positions understand that women can coach this game at a high level. I've prepared the past few years for this opportunity, and I'm excited to step into this role. Obviously, I've made it this far, so part of my dream is complete, but the work doesn't stop. I have more dreams, more aspirations, and hopefully one day I'll reach that goal.
Ron Rivera is someone who obviously believes a lot in you, and he's talked about the fact that there are talented female coaches out there, and it looks like he's found one. What has Ron meant to your career?
He's been everything. He gave me a start and gave me a chance when he didn't have to. But once I met Coach Rivera and started getting opportunities, it never crossed my mind that I wouldn't make it back to the NFL and really, working football full time. And I think that's why it's really important to start with that younger generation so they can go right into it. They don't have to defer their dreams, to ultimately do what they want to do. I had an opportunity to meet Commissioner Goodell. We spoke briefly about the importance of getting females into positions in the NFL. And obviously, Coach Lowe in Tampa and Katie in San Francisco, Callie now with the Browns. I think it's growing. I think we're all capable of doing a great job, and I think we're the right people for our situation. The biggest thing about playing the game and coaching the game is you have that validity with the guys. They know that you've played, and it really knocks out a lot of questions about why I'm there and am I capable of coaching because they've seen me play. It's kind of that fraternity or sorority of actually strapping on the pads and maybe seeing stars after a play, or you understand what it feels like to hit and be hit, and I think that's important. And I think there's no coincidence that all of the females now working in the NFL have playing experience.
If you could look 10 years in the future, and you keep on this road that you've been traveling, where does Jennifer King see herself 10 years in the future?
Hopefully still in this football thing. That's the first reaction. Making strides to be a coordinator, or if I'm happy coaching a position, that's fine too. I was an assistant college basketball coach for 9 years and could have left and became a head coach, but I was comfortable in my role. And I think that's important. If you like your job, stick with it. It's not about chasing a check or always chasing goals, but
Wait, she said she got some football highlights. You think we can find them highlights? Let's see. Jennifer King. We got to be able to find them highlights, right? She was just watching them. Play defense for the DC. That's a real thing. That's a DC Divas. That's a real team, yo. $5 years ago. Sound kind of right. Okay, number 5. Okay, yeah, she's wearing 5 and oh. Okay, just running around. Hey, oh. Hey, she low key banging though. What was that? Hold on. What was that? No way. No way. Where's she? That's a female. Okay, what we got? Outside toss. He contain. Hey! She physical though. I kind of like Coach King at corner. We could try to run it back her way. She be getting hands on. Ain't no pass coverage going on, but man, she's stopping the run. I think they running a wing tee. Ooh. That might be my favorite hit right there. Hey! Good night. Good night. Dang. Okay. Coach King out there smacking. She running impressed man defense too, though. Didn't even let him get off the ball. Nah, she cold, though. Threw him to the ground. She cold. Nah, why she cold, though? So, wait, so this is 5 years ago. I guess it was before she was with the Commanders. But, yo, though, why she actually cold, though? So, this is a defensive coach at North Carolina Central right now. Jennifer King, she going to be an analyst. But she could still ball, though. She low-key smacking. She not playing. Running against a run-heavy deep offense, she not playing. Hey. Okay. I'm not even going to front with y'all. I kind of like her, man. I feel like she could go a little bit, which is dope. I feel like you talk about coaches, like how she was saying, when you talk about coaches and trying to connect with players, if you haven't played that sport, a lot of times it's not going to connect as well as it will with somebody that has played that sport and is now coaching. Because the difference, it's very subtle differences. But when it's like, if you know how to cook and you teach somebody how to cook versus you know a good recipe and you trying to teach somebody a good recipe. You feel what I'm saying? Because when you tell somebody about a recipe and you don't know how to cook, you're not really going to tell them the different subtleties about how to cook the rice or how to cook this or that. You're more so just talking about like the basics of the recipe. But if you talk to a chef about a recipe, they'll be able to tell you exactly what you need to do. You should cook the water like this first. You should cook things in this order. Boom, boom, boom. This is how you should flavor things. If you want this flavor, try this. If you want that flavor, try that. Right? It's not as bland as when somebody's just reading the recipe to you. So I say that to say Coach King has played football, right? She's in the mix. She understands how you get tired at the gas. So she understands staying out on the field for fourth down. She understands what type of guts it takes to be on that football field, that punt returner, right? Or kick returner, or just the different subtleties of football. Actually playing the sport helps you better convey the instructions to your players. So when I see her out here and she actually making plays, moving around, okay, as a player, I would listen to that. And nowadays you got flag football is pretty big now too. So I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a lot of these different flag football athletes ended up coaching afterwards. I coach girls flag football at the high school level, and a lot of these girls love football in general. I saw on the Club 520 with Jeff T, B. Henny, and all them dudes, Kelsey Mitchell was on there, and she plays for the Indiana Fever. She said her favorite sport was football. Like, she loved football growing up. She just got tired of getting hit. So, when you think about a lot of these women that coach at the Division I level or any level in football, you got to understand that a lot of them really love ball. Like, they're not just out here just to coach. They are out here on a mission. And like you said at the beginning of the interview, I'm trying not to be the last one. You feel me? So I like that a lot, man. Had to highlight that at the top of the show. But it's time. It's time, y'all. Let's get into Howard's schedule. This schedule It ain't that bad. I'm not going to front to you. This schedule is not that bad. Let me move myself out the way. Y'all just listen to me. This schedule is not that bad. In some ways, you could say, okay, maybe I can see FAMU coming out of this schedule, right? Maybe I can see Howard come out of this schedule. Maybe the FAMU game won't set them back too much. Well, I'm here to tell y'all that I got Howard. Hold on, where am I? Put me on screen. I got a list. I got Howard winning 4 games. I got Howard going 4-8. Also, I have Howard only winning 1 game in the MEAC. 1 game. And that's against Delaware State. But before I jump the gun, let's get into week 1, right? Week 1, they play against Florida A&M in Miami Gardens, Florida. It's going down. It is going down. This is a way to open the season, and this is something that's going to tell us a lot about what we're going to get out of this Howard University team. Howard has a couple different problems. 1 second. Oh, wait, hold on. The stream got suspended? we can't be playing all them highlights. Okay, I got it. My bad, YouTube. My bad. Don't take me down. We ain't showing, pause. We ain't showing no more highlights, YouTube. I'm sorry. All right, so let's get into it. Miami. Florida A&M and Howard will be facing off. Give me Florida A&M by 2 touchdowns. One team that I'm not really that bullish on is Howard, for the fact that they lost a couple quarterbacks. They have had a hard time retaining talent, and I feel like at this point in Coach Larry Scott's tenure, it's been put up or shut up. And I kind of feel like that Celebration Bowl appearance was a part of that put up or shut up. But now I really feel as though he's at a point with this university where they are at his will, right? Howard has never made it to a Celebration Bowl before. A game this week, right? A game this year, or even the games this year, are just a cherry on top. He already did what every coach has been trying to do at Howard for some time now. He has put them in position to win. He's had them, they've upgraded. Now they're with Jordan. The athletic director does a great job. They were Jordan, the basketball, football, everything with Jordan. Howard is a great situation for a new coach, right? Everything's set up. Cool uniforms, decent scheduling. You win some games. They're pretty competitive as a football team. So it's like a decent option for FCS coach looking to come over. But for Coach Larry Scott, what more can you do at this point if you're Howard? What more can you do? Like, is Howard expected to win the MEAC again in the next couple of years? Not really. Nobody really waiting for that. The Morgan looked like they might win in the next couple of years. South Carolina State might win it the next couple of years. No, Central might, but I'm not really thinking about Howard in that way. I even feel like Norfolk has a better outlook moving forward and winning the MEAC than Howard. But let's continue to go through the schedule, right? For the A&M top of the schedule, I got that as a loss. I think FAMU just has too much for this team. And as much as I'm always I don't like Coach Cozy at FAMU, but I think they're better than Howard through and through. Then week 2, you got at Temple. I don't feel like Temple's not bringing much, but at the same time, though, do we feel like Howard's in a good position to upset anybody? No. So that's another loss. Another loss for Howard. So I got Howard 0-2. And also I want to make note that game will be at Lincoln Financial Field. It was a very big deal made about the Norfolk and Delaware State playing there. So also we got these 2 teams playing there also, Temple and Howard. The week after, though, we have Howard hosting Morehouse in a home game, right, at MetLife Stadium. Interesting game to say the least. You want to talk about a Morehouse team that's been rebuilding for the past couple years. They're going to be traveling up to Howard. I in no way expect Howard to win. Not Howard. I in no way expect Morehouse to win this football game. I don't think they have a chance at this game. I feel like Morehouse is showing up just to show up like they do every year. Morehouse is taking a field trip to New York. It's a yearly field trip to New York, right? You go up, you go play Howard, get whooped on, go back home. That's how it works. right? You know how it works. And then everybody says, oh, well, but Howard and Morehouse alumni get together so well, and everybody gets along, and everybody has a great time. But the product on the field is trash. The product on the field is trash every year, y'all. Hold on. Is it me? Let's see. Howard versus Morehouse 2024. Let's look it up. All right. 35-21. Let's check out 2023. All right. 65-19. Did they play in 2022? All right. 31-0. Has any of these games even sounded close to competitive, guys? Have they sounded close to competitive? So, yeah, Howard by a whole bunch of points. Look at Hampton. Looking at a Hampton team that's going to bring in they've hired their coach full-time now, Coach Boykin. He's full-time. He was an interim coach all of last year, but he comes in. But the problem is Boykin beat Howard last year too. They beat y'all last year. So this interim tag being pulled off don't make a difference to me. That's another win for Hampton, another L for Howard. So currently I got Howard at about 1-3 right now. And going into the game against Richmond. And Richmond, I'm not even going to lie to you, Richmond pretty stacked, man. Last year, Richmond went 8-0 in conference. Like 10-3 overall. So Richmond's going to spank Howard. I don't think it's going to even be close. I think Richmond's going to put hands on Howard, right? We talking about a Howard team that is playing at Richmond. Week before bye week. Recipe for ass whooping. Okay? I'm trying to tell you. That's what that recipe for. So, that's another L. I got lost to Richmond there. Then moving to the next week, you have a bye week, so you better not lose that. Then after that, you play against Sacred Heart, right? We got a game against Sacred Heart. Sacred Heart has not been that good in the past couple of years. They lose a lot of players. They lose some people to the transfer portal, but of course, to the graduates, are gone. So you look at a Howard team that's going to play a Sacred Heart team that's really kind of hobbled. And at Howard at that point, they will be 1-4. So they'll be looking for a win. Thirsty for a win. So I got Howard winning that game. Give me Howard over Sacred Heart. Okay? Then we got Howard versus Tennessee State. That's another game where I feel like Howard just has the upper hand on the team. So Tennessee State, I'll give Tennessee State a loss, right? And I'll give Howard the win there. So right now, we got Howard at 3 wins and 4 losses heading into MEAC play, right? This seems a little bit more optimistic than usual for a Howard team that, doesn't have less talented, keep it a buck. So at 3-4, going into the MEAC schedule, they have probably the toughest MEAC schedule. Let me move myself so y'all can take a look. This MEAC schedule is treacherous. It's nothing to play with. You think about a Howard team that is less talented than usual, you don't want this schedule, right? You really don't want to play Morgan State the first week of MEAC play, right? You got Morgan State on here, where Morgan State is very hungry, they thirsty. They're going to come off a very easy 3-game stretch. They have a 3-game stretch that consists of Miles, Central State, Virginia Lynchburg, and actually it's a 4-game stretch. It considers Georgetown too, NAIA. So coming off of those games, they'll be riding a high, probably averaging about 40, 50 points. If they should, at least. Then they'll play Howard. And Howard's going to look like food. So give me Morgan State in that game to open up conference play. North Carolina Central. That's another loss for Howard. I don't think Central's going to play with their food here. I think Central's going to get rid of this Howard team and really put hands on them. Then you want to talk about another loss. The next week, you play against South Carolina State. South Carolina State also will put hands on Howard. You look at South Carolina State and what they got. They're going to figure out their situation at quarterback. But all over the field, they return guys like Jared Washington. You even got a big guy down there at D-line and Joshua Barker. That's going to make some noise. You're talking about a squad that returns enough of Coach Chinsbury's dogs to eat you up. And I honestly feel as though South Carolina State could even take another step forward this year in continuing the legacy of Buddy Pugh and continuing the great legacy of South Carolina State football. So, putting all this into perspective, and you play at Oliver C. Dawson Stadium in Orangeburg, South Carolina, give me South Carolina State by a lot. Okay? This is what I mean by this MEAC schedule is the toughest. Because why are you playing the top 3 MEAC schools off the back? You put yourself, they didn't choose this, but they are in a tough position. After South Carolina State, you play against Delaware State. I got this being the only win of Howard's MEAC schedule against Delaware State. I think the only chance they got to win a game in the MEAC schedule is against Delaware State. I don't feel like there's any other way that Howard will get a chance at these things, right? This is the one time you get a chance to win. You got to do it, but it's going to be an away game, right? It's going to be an away game. And Delaware State, Howard, not any difference at all. And, how far they are, I don't know, 20 miles, 10 minutes from each other. But there's going to be a lot of pressure if you're 0-3 in the MEAC playing against Delaware State, a team that the fan base overall thinks they are better than, a team that Howard as a team would assume to be better than, but a Delaware State team that's a sleeper, and they're not going to go down softly. So to end the season, there's going to be a home game for Howard. Their senior night game is against Norfolk State. Norfolk State. So you talk about a Norfolk State team that I think might be problems towards the end of the season. That's going to be a tough game to win, right? Is Mike Vick his first year, his first season? Sure. But we all know how bad this Howard team was last year. Bad teams towards the end of the season tend to fall off because of injuries, but also have a hard time winning the games they're perceived to win and have a hard time playing against defensive teams, right? These are all different traits of bad teams. I've been a part of a couple bad teams, y'all. I can't lie. I've been a part of a couple bad teams. I've been a part of a couple 2-8s, a couple 1-9s. I've been on a part of a couple of them, right? So I speak about this with experience. You don't want to play Norfolk State towards the latter part of this season. You don't want to play Norfolk State when they're starting to believe in themselves more and more, right? When you're starting to see guys hop on the field that may not have played all year. This Norfolk State team, in my opinion, will only become more and more dangerous as the season goes on. And the MEAC really got to look out for that. Because those first 6 games for Norfolk State is going to be kind of easy breezy, figure out who we are, but the MEAC games are going to count. And I think that Howard's going to have a hard time with this Norfolk team towards the end of the season. So, with that being said, I got Howard going 4-8 with losses to Fort A&M, Temple, Hampton, Richmond, Morgan State. Erica not going to like that, man. Erica is not going to like that. Shout out to Banks. I got him also losing to North Carolina Central, South Carolina State, and Norfolk State. The lone wins coming against Morehouse, Sacred Heart, Tennessee State, and Delaware State. That's all I got for Howard. I think Howard's going to be in a tough position this whole year trying to get wins. It's going to be an uphill battle. If there are any games on this schedule I think that could turn around and that might be wobblers, it's not favorable for Howard. I think that the Delaware State game could be a loss for Howard. I think that they could have a hard time playing Delaware State. I think that if they have a hard time scoring points throughout the season, Delaware State is going to keep them on their toes. And we're going to look at Delaware State's schedule at another time. But if that might be senior night for Delaware State, which means that these players are going to play with some pride, right? These players are not going out easy. These players are going to come out with a chip on their shoulder. Could be bad news for Howard. So, as we move on, we just mentioned Norfolk a lot. So, I want to bring up Norfolk State's schedule. We'll bring up Norfolk's schedule. And really, I felt a couple of different ways about Norfolk's schedule the past couple of weeks. At the beginning, I felt as though they were going to, let's look at it on Future College Football. At the beginning of seeing Norfolk's schedule and while watching everything that's going on as far as recruiting-wise for Norfolk, I felt like, okay, this might be a tough season. But the more I look at it, guys, I think this team could go plus 500. I think this team can win more than 6 games. I'm all out of water, man. Somebody send some alkaline water ASAP. That boy all out. So, I think this team can win more than 6 games. I actually have Norfolk State winning 7 games. I think Norfolk State can go 7-5 this season. Honestly. I honestly believe that. And I am totally ready to start the Norfolk State hype train if we got to. Like, at this point, I feel like we should just be pushing more and more for Coach Mike Vick to try to get a win over FBS team. Because that's what we wanted so bad out of Coach Prime, right? That's what we wanted so bad. And it felt like a couple times we got really close, right? You talk about the game against Louisiana Monroe where the offense just couldn't seem to get things going and really get a touchdown and rather settle for field goals. So you got to think it's going to be a strong push. So we'll talk about it. Week 1 for Norfolk State. They have the Towson Tigers, right? They're going to be playing at home at William Dick Price Stadium in Norfolk, Virginia. Towson seems like a decent team. And for some time, I thought Towson was going to win this game. But after digging through Towson's team, their depth chart, what they have coming back, and what they're losing, I think Norfolk State can win this game. I think they should win this game. This Towson team is depleted. They lost both of their quarterbacks in the depth chart last year. They were both senior quarterbacks, graduate seniors. They lose their top running back, who's also one of their top receivers. They lose both of their top receiver and their top tight end. They also lose a couple of their top tacklers. As much as Norfolk State is looking to figure out who they are as a team, Towson is also. Both of these teams will be trying to find rhythm early in this game, and whoever can find it will take the lead and may be able to maintain it throughout. The lone difference in these two teams is that we do not understand the team and clock management that Coach Mike Vick will have at Norfolk State, right? When you're early in coaching, you leave a lot of possibility to be out-coached. Will that happen in this position? I predict that it won't. I predict that Norfolk will win this game. Week 2, we got Norfolk playing against Virginia State, right? Little Big State. Interesting game. The past couple of years, Norfolk has even lost to Virginia State. This year, though, I think Norfolk wins this game by a lot. This is going to be a night game, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be Battle of the States. And give me Norfolk in a big win. Next game, they go over to New Jersey to play against Rutgers. Rutgers has played a couple different MEAC teams the past couple of years. Most recently, they beat the hell out of Howard about a year ago. I think that Howard they still have nightmares about that, and I think Norfolk will suffer the same fate. That's a loss for Norfolk there. So I got Norfolk at 2-1, heading to a game against Sacred Heart. Right? We talked about Sacred Heart playing against Howard about in the last prediction, but Sacred Heart here against Norfolk, I don't trust them. And give me Norfolk to win. I got Norfolk going 3-1 right now, right? 3-1 after 4 weeks of play. You come out the next week playing against Wagner Seahawks. I'm not a big fan of Wagner, but right now, when I look at what Norfolk has at this day, August 9th, I cannot tell you with that much confidence that Norfolk will beat Wagner. I really can't. I honestly can't. So I'm going to take Wagner to win that game. That's an L for Norfolk. I'll leave Norfolk at 3-2, going into a game against Hampton. The Battle of the Bay, one of the biggest games of the season for Norfolk State, is going to be against their bitter rivals, the Hampton Pirates. That's a win for Norfolk. Give me Norfolk. Norfolk just took like 5 to 10 players from Hampton in the spring, and now I'm pretty sure they're going to do their victory dance on them when it comes to October 4th, the week of my birthday. Next week, we got a game against Wofford. Wofford has been struggling the past couple of years, and they play in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and that's where this game will be at. But give me Norfolk by a lot of points. We saw South Carolina State dog walk Wofford last year, 56-14. So I'm expecting Norfolk to also continue the dog walking that South Carolina State started. All right. So that's a win for Norfolk. Next week, we got a bye. Coming into MEAC play, this is a very interesting MEAC schedule. You want to talk about MEAC schedules that are a little bit interesting? This is very interesting. One of the more, it looks a little bit at least more traditional, whereas it's evenly distributed, right? The fades are evenly distributed. It's not a gang of early fades, nothing like that. But the first game against South Carolina State, I've got Norfolk State losing that game. I got them losing that game. I think South Carolina State comes into the MEAC play with a chip on their shoulder and puts hands on Norfolk State. And I think this will be the eye-opening game for Coach Mike Vick, right? If it's not any of these tough losses, like a loss I think to Wagner will really hurt a lot. A loss to Hampton will hurt a lot for sure. But I think that a loss to South Carolina State would open his eyes to what the MEAC is, right? I think that with Coach Deshaun Jackson and with Coach Mike Vick, they are both trying to understand what the MEAC is. And I think there's no other coach that will do better than to welcome them into the MEAC other than Coach Chennisberry at South Carolina State. So that's a win for South Carolina State. That's a loss for Norfolk State, right? Next game, at Dale State. I think they're going to win that game, right? They're going to play at the Link. This is the home of the Philadelphia Eagles. This is going to be a game for Mike Vick to lead his team against Coach Deshaun Jackson and Delaware State. Give me Norfolk State by a lot. Hard to predict this game because we haven't seen any of these players on the field at the same time ever, other than a quick spring game. Next week, at North Carolina Central, I got that game being a fat loss, followed by a game against Morgan State, where I got Morgan State also beating Norfolk. Back-to-back losses. To end the season, playing against the Howard Bison at Howard in Washington, D.C. Give the advantage to Norfolk State there. I got Norfolk winning that game. I think that in that game, Norfolk State will be able to come out and they'll be able to show what they are as a team. Because you have back-to-back losses. North Carolina Central will beat you. Morgan State will also beat you, right? But how do you end the season? With a win, right? Don't you want to come back with as much motivation as you can to win the next game? So I think that Norfolk State ends the season 7-5 with wins over Towson, Virginia State, Sacred Heart, Hampton, Wofford, Delaware State, and Howard University. Norfolk State, there's a lot to look forward to. You look at the schedule. You see a schedule right here where you have some decent FCS foes. You had Towson, and you also have Wagner. You have Sacred Heart on here. And then you have a schedule that's also has all the rivals, right? You got Virginia State on here, and you also have Hampton on here. So the game that I really like, and I'm looking at right now in the smack dab middle of this schedule, is this Rutgers game. At Rutgers, right? Week 3 of the season. Norfolk will know who their starting quarterback is. Most of their positions will begin to be settled around week 3. And this game is going to be a pretty big game. We always would like to see our teams head up against these FBS programs just as a measuring stick to see where they are. And I in no way think that Norfolk State will win this game. But in a couple of different ways, I feel like Norfolk has a strong chance of showcasing their skills. I think that there are a couple players in Norfolk, like Israel Carter at quarterback, that can really show who they are against a top team, right? Or at least against an FBS-style team, a team with more scholarships than you. Something to look forward to, something to watch out for. As we go through these different schedules, there's one schedule in particular that I am interested in looking at, and this school is actually a Division II school, y'all. It's going to be Tuskegee. Tuskegee has a very tough schedule, and I might even argue that Tuskegee's schedule is tougher than this Norfolk State schedule. You want to talk about a team that's going through it. You want to talk about a team that's facing an uphill battle pretty much the whole year. It's going to be Tuskegee. Let's take a look at it. Off the back, you have a very tough game. Tuskegee plays against Winston-Salem State. You're going against a Winston-Salem State team that's extremely talented, headed by who I think is the best quarterback in HBCU football, the boy Dalen Lee. Winston-Salem's going to present a lot of different problems for this Tuskegee team. Number one, they have a very valid passing attack, but they have a lot of different returners on offense and defense that I think are going to give Tuskegee a lot of different problems. I think that the only issues at Tuskegee, for the most part, has been their defense. These past couple years, it has been their defense. This defense has not been as tough as you like. They bend and try not to break, which is only cool when your offense averages 40 points a game. But a lot of times Tuskegee finds himself playing catch up early, or they'll take the lead early and just sit on the ball. I don't think Winston-Salem State will get him a chance to do that. So give the win to Winston-Salem State in week 0. Really, this game isn't even a week 1 game. This is a week 0 game. So moving on to week 1, you got Central State up here. A Central State team that is the Marauders that are really bubbling. They're trending up. You want to talk about a team that just added a gang of coaches to their coaching staff, a team that has quite a few players on there that are transfer guys. This program is operating like a Division I program right now. And I would not be surprised if a lot of these coaches end up leaving in about a year or two just to get call-ups at bigger programs. Coach Tony Carter has done his job as head coach over there at Central. He's brought in some names. Talk about Santonio Holmes, Quentin Demps, Leon Washington. Wow. But I got Tuskegee winning that game, right? That's 1 win for Tuskegee, 1 loss. Next week, you got Jackson State. Jackson State is tough, right? You're going to play a Jackson State team that is not playing around, a team that's going to come off a game against Hampton. And this game is also locked in for the next couple of years, y'all. Like, they're going to be playing. You talk about Tuskegee, Jackson State, this is a new classic for Jackson State. So, game 1 of the classic, Jackson State's going to beat Tuskegee by about 50 points. I'm pretty sure. If I'm Coach Aaron James at Tuskegee, I will probably put in a lot of my backups, and I'm not going to play a lot of my starters. I'm not playing a lot of guys that might get hurt this game. I mean, how many times has this type of stuff happened? Right? We saw last year when Miles College played against Alabama State. You lead a game, you almost win, but you leave hobbled. So what does it help you, right? The rest of the season, you're going to lose your left tackle because you're trying to be Alabama State for 1 game in week 2. I'm going to need that left tackle in week 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So if I need them, I'm not going to play them in this game. And Tuskegee is in no way ready to play against a Jackson State team or even compete against a Jackson State team. Not even close. You probably would think maybe in year 3 of Coach Aaron James' coaching job at Tuskegee that he would be coming around to playing against a Jackson State team and actually competing with them. But Tuskegee is not close. They're not close. It won't even be a game. It'd be kind of sad. But here we go. Benedict, the week after that. Playing against Benedict is going to be interesting because Benedict, to me, is my sleeper team in the SIAC. They just picked up Darius Ocean, quarterback out of Johnson C. Smith. He bounced on back to Benedict. At Benedict, I'm expecting Darius Ocean and these great defenders they have to make some waves. You want to talk about teams that play well or teams that have done well traditionally in the SIAC, you're going to talk about teams with good defenses. And with one of the top defensive players in the SIAC, I think that Benedict's going to present Tuskegee with a lot of different problems. I cannot see Tuskegee getting out of that one with a dub. And look, even take a look at I tried to highlight it. Thursday. It's a Thursday night game. That's a wobbler. It's also at South Carolina. It's another wobbler. Right? The last time we saw Benedict play on a Thursday night game, it was against Fort Valley State. That was Coach Chennisberry against Coach Sean Gibbs. And Coach Chennisberry got the win. Benedict got the win. Advantage to Benedict in these Thursday night games. And Tuskegee, I do not think you have enough for this Benedict defense. I'm going to keep it a buck. So, after that, we go to Fort Valley State. I get a win to Tuskegee on that one. Fort Valley State, that's a dub. Morehouse, presumed W also, right? You playing against a Morehouse team that's just generally not ready to compete in the SIAC. I think they have maybe a year. I give them about a year to come back down and come back to acting normal. Got Albany State also. Albany State coming out after that. I got Albany State being an L. Albany State, to me, is the best team in the SIAC, and I can't see anybody else that's really that much closer to them. So I think that they might run away with that game against Tuskegee. That will be Tuskegee's second loss within the SIAC. Then we have another game against Allen University, which is coming up right after that. I got a win for Tuskegee in that game. You got a game against Lane. Lane might not win a game this year. It's another dub. And then we have Miles, which is always an interesting game for Tuskegee because they have become in-conference rivals over the past 5 years. So this game could go either way, but advantage to Tuskegee for maintaining most of their same team, players-wise, and staff, right? Miles' head coach, Coach Sam Shade, went up to Alabama A&M, and he's coaching up there now. Miles, towards the end of the season, might be falling apart. Now I'm keeping it all the way a buck. This game is going to be at Miles. It will be their senior day, but I could completely see Tuskegee coming in and crashing the party against this Miles team that, quite frankly, is in a giant rebuild right now. You lose your top quarterback. I think actually Cam Ivey returned. You keep your top quarterback. You lose your top receivers, Jay Andrews, and a couple other guys to Alabama A&M. You lose your top running back. You lose your top defenders also to Alabama A&M. You lose 11 players to Alabama A&M. They have a lot of shoes to fill, Miles, and I think that they are in no shape to play against a Tuskegee team and be that competitive. So that's a W for Tuskegee. And then the last game of the season, the Turkey Day Classic. Interestingly enough, I think that this game won't be close like it has been the past couple years. I mean, Tuskegee signing up for this game is it's honorable. But Bama State, the level they've been playing at the past couple of years, they are no business ready to play around with Tuskegee, right? They have tough games against Miles, which Miles is much better than Tuskegee past couple of years. But for Tuskegee, it's a different type of game, right? You talk about Miles, it's a much physical style of play. You want to run the ball downhill, big play actions for big post routes. You want to play hard-nosed defense, attacking defense, linebackers filling through gaps, right? But with Tuskegee, they're a little more finesse. Right? If Miles is like the Boston Celtics, rough and tough, then, Tuskegee is the Lakers with Pau Gasol. You feel me? Real finesse, shoot the jumpers, make the difficult shots. But when it's time to get in the trenches, when the Lakers and Celtics play in 2007, right? And Pau got going against Kevin Garnett, right? It's kind of a difference in play. So really it's kind of what I see with Tuskegee when they go play against Alabama State. Their style of play does not fit a winning style to beat Division I programs. Quite honestly, you got to be able to get in the trenches and get into a dogfight with Division I programs if you want to win. We saw Clark Atlanta beat Bethune-Cookman last year. They literally got in a dogfight and kicked a 53-yard field goal to win the game. That's what it takes, right? And we don't even know Clark Atlanta to be a defensive team, but I believe the score was 23-20, or somewhere along that facts. They didn't reach 40. Neither team reached 40, if I'm not mistaken. So, really, when I look at these Division I games that Tuskegee has on their schedule, the Alabama States, you got Jackson State up here earlier in the season. These games, Tuskegee are not built to win. I hate to say it that way, but Tuskegee is just not built to win these games. For one, you got the scholarship difference. Of course, right? You got 38 scholarships at Tuskegee. You got 63 scholarships at Jackson State and Alabama State. Big difference. But also, not only that, what's your trench play like? Who you got at D-line? And Tuskegee lost a couple guys at D-line. But who you got on D-line? That's going to really be in there to have a continuous pass rush, set a continuous presence off the end. Who's going to be able to fill that A-gap and B-gap, right? If we can't stop those interior run plays, we have no defense. So for Tuskegee, in my opinion, you come into these games, you're not built to beat these teams. I don't know why you keep scheduling them. You keep putting them on the schedule, but you know damn well you have no business playing Jackson State. They just won the Celebration Bowl. Beat the brakes off South Carolina State. And the next year they come to play you at 2 p.m. Lord. Lord. There ain't no way. So, Tuskegee, man, they got it. They did that to themselves, man. I ain't going to say anything. They did that to themselves. You talk about a Tuskegee team that's going to come out and play a tough schedule, but I think they end up being 6-5 at the end of this, which is the most heartbreaking to me. Because I think Tuskegee is better than 6-5. But it's an awkward 6-5 because I think they go 0-3 in non-conference. They win some conference games, right? You go 2-0 in conference, and really a 6-5 leaves you at around 6 wins, 2 losses in conference. which is not bad. Might lead to another SIAC conference championship bid, which would be dope for Tuskegee. But a 6-5 record, I don't think that keeps Aaron James at his job at Tuskegee. I think a 6-5 record puts everything into perspective for a Tuskegee program that is built to win and infrastructurally are ready to win. They got the facilities now. You bring in turf a couple years ago, refurbished the whole stadium a couple years ago. You add lights last year. You have a very nice, what's the best way to put it? Very nice football facility. That's a great sell for recruits. You have everything you need. You just need a winning program. Right? Don't we just need to win games at this point? We got everything else. What I don't know anything else that Tuskegee could change other than adding some white helmets. I think they got yellow, red, black jerseys. They got every type of color jersey imaginable. You're bringing in players every year. You're beginning to build some at Tuskegee, but you just can't win, right? And I'm serious about that. You just can't win. Let's go through their schedule. All right, 2025. Let's go to 2024. 5-6. This team was 5-6 last year, y'all. I can't see it. Hold on. I'm in the way. 5-6. This is a 5-6 program, right? Let's talk about the year before that. Let's go to 2023. In 2023, 7-4. This is the year they almost made it to the conference championship. But 7 wins, though, right? Let's keep it going. 2022. 8 wins. Super close, right? You get super close. 3-0 at home, 3-2 away. Before this, I don't think they played any games. 2021, I don't even remember this. They was 3-8 in 2021. So this is not, I say all this to say, this is not the Tuskegee of the past, man. They're trying to build back, build forward and all this stuff, right? But 8 wins in 2023 is as close as you've been to an SIAC championship in the past 3 years as Lane College, okay? I think Lane may have had a better chance of winning it before y'all in the past 2-3 years. So for Tuskegee this year, to me, it's important to win. Yeah, sure. But it's important to make it to the SIAC championship. It's almost boom or bust for this squad, right? At least for the coach. All coaches involved, right? It's boom or bust. There's no way you can stick around and still stay at this program when you're in a position where everybody thinks they can do better than you. Yeah. You need the staff behind you. You need your players behind you. And we're starting to get into some muddy waters right now because I kind of feel like we're in the same position that Bowie State is in up in the CIAA. In the CIAA, Bowie State is really in a particular situation because they cannot win. They have a hard time winning. And more than that, they're at a prestigious program where everybody looks at them like they are the old 2022 Bowie State Bulldogs. Same way with Tuskegee. We all look at Tuskegee like, oh, this is the great Tuskegee. They always do their thing. They're good in football. They can beat teams. They have a very big program. Booker T. Washington's kids, yada, yada, yada. When you come out and look at the schedule, if this team goes 6-5, I'm looking at Tuskegee in a whole different light at this point. There was a point in time where we looked at Tuskegee as a team as one of the best in the SIAC and a team that was a contender every year. And I think if this year, if Tuskegee cannot get it done, they can't get to the conference championship, we got to stop having them contend every year because they're not contending for a damn thing, right? They have in the past couple of years. You in the mix, you win a couple games. You're in the mix, you always end around 4th or 5th, though, right? Kind of reminds me of Alabama State down in the SWAC. You're always in a weird position. At what point will you take that next step? If they lose to Benedict early in the season, it's going to hurt them. But if you lose to Albany in a couple weeks later, I think you're kind of doing it to yourself, right? Because then I think those two teams still make it to the SIC championship, Benedict and Albany. All right. Enough about Tuskegee. We got super in-depth in today's schedule. This is a very tough schedule. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is a schedule of this is a schedule for a team that's fresh out of a conference championship right now. Talk about playing Winston-Salem, playing Jackson State, playing Alabama State. So not only playing the top team in the CIAA, you playing the top team in the SWAC also. And then you playing against their little brothers, Alabama State. Your little bro gonna take the back fade? Come on, man. That's too much. It's too much going on for me. So not a big fan of Tuskegee's schedule. But I think it's honorable the fact that they would take on these teams. But the fact that they aren't prepared to play them is what's turning me down to this even situation that they might have. So let's try North Carolina A&T football schedule, man. So A&T, they only won one game last year, which was, it's pretty dark, kind of sad. Because I kind of came into this HBCU space looking at North Carolina A&T like they're the royalty of the HBCU football space. But very fast, I found out that they are no longer the royalty. They are now the punching bag when you talk about HBCU football. They are the team that loses. Let's can I go back to their last year's schedule so I can give y'all a look at it? Because they were bad, all-time bad. 1-11, right? They had a losing streak of 10 games. 10 games. They lost in damn near every state in the East Coast. North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Pennsylvania, Maryland. Pick a place to lose, and they found it. So in 2025, what's going to change? Flix, what do you think will change, bro? It's the same team, right? Well, first of all, yes. And no, okay? The biggest changes, they have a new head coach. Coach Sean Gibbs now enters the fold at North Carolina A&T, and he will lead the team out on this charge in this campaign. He comes from Fort Valley State, where he had this team competing year after year. They were pretty much a 7-win, 8-win team year to year, and it's only about 11 games or 12 games in D2 football. So a very good coach, able to attract a lot of different talent at Fort Valley State, and he wasn't able to bring pretty much anybody to North Carolina A&T with him, but he did get a couple of the guys that he wanted. When you talk about transfers, you're bringing Champ Long, transfer out of Maryland, to come in and compete with quarterback Kevin White Jr. that has been there for the past couple of years to really see all this whole train wreck go down. So we got a quarterback battle there for sure, North Carolina A&T, but this schedule is something else. I'll start this by saying I think that North Carolina A&T will win more games than last year. For a fact. I think there's almost no way they only win one game this year. Coach Sean Gibbs, and what I know of him, I just can't see that. I really honestly cannot see that. So let's go through it. Week 1. I believe in week 1, North Carolina A&T will tie their win total from all of 2024, and they will win the first game of the season at Tennessee State. For a fact, right? Tennessee State is in the position that A&T was in about 2 or 3 years ago when A&T brought in Coach Vincent Brown, right? You bring in a coach, all your players leave, all of them, other than a couple, right? And not only do you have a new coach, he has to implement a new system. He's also in a new conference he's never been in before. Well, not new conference. Vincent Brown was in that conference already. But this coach, Coach Reggie Barlow, is going to be in a new conference, and he's just trying to find his footing. This is going to be the first home game of the season. I could see it being a big spot for a letdown for Tennessee State. Give me A&T with the win for week 1. Week 2, you go to UCF. University of Central Florida is about to kick your ass, all right? So that's a loss. Next week, you got a game against Hampton. This game, to me, is a wobbler, but I do feel as though Hampton has the upper hand, right? Hampton has a quarterback that I like. You got Isaiah out there coming over from Lincoln University. But really, when you talk about Hampton in this Hampton game, this game is going to be at North Carolina A&T. This will be Gibbs' first game back home, which makes it a wobbler for me. And if y'all don't know, if y'all new to this, a wobbler is something that can go back and forth either way, win or loss. You're not really sure. You're on the fence. You're a wobbler. So that's my wobbler game. That's a pick'em game, if you will, right? After that, you play against a really tough 3-game stretch here, right? You're going to play against Hampton. After Hampton, you play against North Carolina Central, which will probably put up 50 points on you again. You're going to play at Maine, which is probably going to hurt. And then you're going to play against William Mary at William and Mary. Not a fun time, guys. Not a fun time at all to be a North Carolina A&T Aggie. Look at the middle of this season right here. The middle of this season is treacherous. Because not only do you play William and Mary, after you play William and Mary, you hop into the MEAC for a game and go play South Carolina State. For G-Ho, for homecoming. The biggest game of the season is against South Carolina State. Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to put Coach Chennis Berry on a big stage like G-Ho and let him go head-to-head with your new head coach, Coach Sean Gibbs? Because look at this. I think these two face off against each other about 3 different times. Fort Valley versus Benedict in 2023, I believe, was the last time they faced off against each other. All right? This is the last time Benedict and Fort Valley State played against each other, guys. 48-6. The coach of Benedict was Chennis Berry. The coach of Fort Valley was Coach Sean Gibbs. Just putting stuff into perspective, right? So, for homecoming, guess what North Carolina A&T does? Let's play Chennis Berry. Let's go play Chennis Berry. Let's see what they got down there, right? Let's go check it out. So, that's another loss, guys. Surprise! That's going to be a loss at G-Ho, just like last year. Is anybody surprised? Not so much. Not so much. All right? Then you got a bye week. Squabble the bye real quick. And then you play at Campbell. Campbell has been depleted the past couple of years since they lost their head coach. And they have been struggling to get back into relevancy as to what they used to be, right? Campbell versus Jackson State a couple of years ago is very different than the Campbell of 2025. So I give the advantage to North Carolina A&T, and I got a win for A&T right there, man. Clap it up for them. That will be their first win since week 1. Wow, that possibly means they could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 weeks without a win for A&T, I predict. 8 weeks without a win. But after this win versus Campbell, they will go on to play against Towson. I got them winning the game against Towson also. And I got them ending the season with 2 losses. 1 loss to Stony Brook and 1 loss to Elon. Both of those games will be in North Carolina. So, to recap A&T's schedule, I have them finishing the season at around 3-8. Right? 3 wins, 8 losses. The 3 wins come from Tennessee State, Campbell, and Towson. I have those being the lone wins for North Carolina A&T, and I feel as though they have a strong chance to win way more games than 1 game, right? That's the big thing to me. But another thing to me would be why isn't this team scheduling a gang of Division II opponents at this point? If you see the past couple of years you have a hard time winning, why not schedule some more D2 opponents? Yeah, look, we're looking at 2026 schedule for them right now. Georgia State, North Carolina Central, and Norfolk. No D2 teams, man. They are not backing down from this. 2027, North Carolina Central, NC State, Norfolk State. Yeah, I don't see any Division II teams in the future for this team. I really don't. North Carolina Central, Tennessee State, North Carolina Tar Heels. That's 2028. So, yeah, it's going to be tough sledding for A&T. It's almost like put up or shut up. And you see the position that their administration is taking in not scheduling these smaller schools to add up the wins, right? I think we saw last year they played Winston-Salem State and they got a win. Without that Winston-Salem State game, they would have went winless. Literally. That's your only win, and that was in week 2, and it was in double overtimes. So, be for real. Really, be for real when you talk about these games. North Carolina A&T is really trying to rebuild this thing. I think Coach Sean Gibbs can get them there. But it's going to be some tough sledding. But this was a little quick show, man. Do a quick little schedule overview, checking some different schedules out. I'm glad I got to kick with me. If y'all are still watching, man, don't forget to subscribe to the show. I'm glad I got to talk to y'all just for a little bit today. I'm trying to figure out my days. Y'all let me know in the comments what days I should start streaming. I got to figure out what days, man. I got to figure out. I don't know. Maybe it's Mondays. I do like Monday mornings. That works cool. Saturday mornings, maybe. We'll see, man. Schedule's around the corner. I'll give y'all way more shows, way more consistently moving forward. Don't worry about nothing. But it's your boy, Kelly Flicks. This has been another episode of The Late Show.